Sarah had just moved into her new apartment, an old building with creaky floors and cracked walls. It was cheap, and she didn't mind the wear and tear. After all, it was her first time living alone. The landlord had warned her that the walls were thin, so she expected to hear some noise from the neighbors. But she didn't expect this. On her first night, as she lay in bed, she heard a faint whisper. At first, she thought it was someone in the next apartment, their voice muffled by the old walls. But as the minutes passed, the whisper didn't fade. It grew louder, closer. Sarah sat up, listening intently. The words were unclear, but the tone was unmistakable, pleading, desperate. She pressed her ear against the wall, heart racing. "Help me," it whispered, chilling her to the bone. The next morning, she asked her neighbors if they'd heard anything strange. They all shook their heads, giving her odd looks. She brushed it off as her imagination, or maybe a radio someone had left on. That night, the whisper returned. This time, it was clearer. "Please, help me." Sarah's heart pounded as she searched the apartment. There was no one there, but the whisper seemed to follow her, moving from wall to wall. She ran her hands over the walls, trying to find the source. Suddenly, her hand hit something, a soft spot in the plaster. Her breath caught in her throat. The whisper was louder now, almost a moan. Panicking, she grabbed a hammer and started chipping away at the wall. As the plaster crumbled, the whisper turned into a scream. She froze as the last bit of plaster fell away, revealing a hollow cavity. Inside the wall was a small, dusty diary. With trembling hands, she opened it. The first page read, "They buried me here. I've been waiting so long for someone to hear me." Sarah's heart stopped as she felt a cold breath on her neck. The whisper was no longer coming from the walls. It was right behind her.